Okay, hello. This is Suneku again with another tips and tricks video. This one is going to be relatively short because the current salmon run rotation we've already talked about 3 of the weapons. And I'm compiling a list of the weapons that I've already talked about, and we'll try to organize them into which video they are in, just in case you want to go back and see them for future rotations. But yeah, we'll talk about our single weapon and then do our usual short freelance run, and we'll see how we do. So this is for the rotation that's on April 8th, 2022, though this is being recorded on April 9th, almost April 10th. And the rotation is Blobber, Glooga, Dualies, Splaterscope, and the weapon we're going to be talking about today, which is the Undercover Brella. So last time we covered the Brella, and I gave general information about how Brellas work with their shield, deploying their shield, stuff like that. And Undercover Brella is a little bit different. And one of the main differences is that when you shoot your Brella shield does not come out. Well, let me rephrase this. Your Brella shield does come out, but it will not detach from the weapon. So unlike the other Brellas, you can hold down the shooting button and continuously shoot while having your Brella shield up. If you do that with any other Brella, you'll stop shooting, you'll hold your shield out until it deploys. So that's the weapon you have to tap each time you want to shoot. But for Undercover Brella, you can just hold down the button and shoot. There are a lot of downsides to the Undercover. It's one of the least popular salmon run weapons, and we'll kind of talk about that. The first part being its damage is not spectacular, though I think it's particularly average, not below average. As you can see, it takes 3 shots to take out an enemy if you get all the pellets on the enemy. Of course, you have partial pellet hits will decrease your damage a lot, so good aim is very important. Luckily, you don't have to worry about tapping all the time, you can just hold down the button to shoot. Like the other Brellas, aside from Brella, it has relatively good strafing ability, so while you're shooting and moving, you have pretty good movement. Ink efficiency wise, I'd say it's pretty average. So the main caveat or downside to this weapon is actually the shield. And the reason why this is a downside is because this might be too old of a reference, but it feels as if someone put a bunch of flubber goo all over your shield, because when you bump into things, you really bounce far back. And you don't bounce back very far off these dummies, but once you start like bumping into Cohawks and Chum and pretty much any other enemy that has a hitbox in a salmon run, you're going to be bouncing all over the place you didn't know you could bounce. So that's one downside of the weapon. So if you get caught in tight spots, then it's not a good time. Your damage isn't good enough to get you out of the situation. When your shield is out, you're kind of bouncing places you don't want to, and you usually end up in trouble. I believe similar to the other Brellas, as soon as your shield makes contact with a scrapper or a steel eel, it will break instantly. I can't demonstrate the shield regenerating because there's nothing in here to break the shield, but it does regenerate the same as the other Brellas, where I'll make a actual sound cue to know when it's back. A good side is still that the shield protects you from missiles that are in front of you when you have the shield up, so you won't take damage from those. It'll go into your shield. And steelhead bombs, you can block those, and those will take out your shield instantly, but at least you won't take any damage from the blast. So going back to the big downside, which is the super bouncy Brella shield, there is a way to mitigate this, but you do have to sort of give something up. So when you hold down ZR to shoot, your umbrella shield pops up and it protects you the whole time. And that's usually the issue that people have with it, because when you have that shield up, then you start bouncing into enemies. But one thing you can do to not have the shield come up is to tap your shots, just like any other Brella. As long as you're not holding down the button, the Brella shield won't come out. Now, the only downside for this is that your fire rate goes down a little bit. So if you want maximum fire rate, you want to hold the button down. If you want to protect yourself from things, you want to rapidly tap it. It's pretty similar fire rate, but it can be a little less depending on the pace that you tap it. So I'd advise, if you're completely safe and have nothing really close to you, you can just hold the button down. Otherwise, if you're in a tight spot, tapping is probably the best option. And lastly, one good thing about the Brella shield is that it takes out small fry instantly. So if you have a whole bunch of small fry around you, let's say if it's like a griller's round and someone needs to clean up the small fry, this weapon's probably the best cleanup weapon for grillers. You can just get their aggro by being close to them, hold your shield up, sort of turn your body so that they run into the shield, and then that will clean them up really well. And yeah, I think that's about it I can say for the Undercover Brella. So not a spectacular weapon. Some people would argue it's one of the worst weapons in Salmon Run, but me liking the more difficult weapon, I think it has its uses and it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's more a matter of you being prepared and knowing your spacing and not taking as many risks as you could with other weapons. So keep that in mind. It's not always that the weapon is bad, but, well, not to say the player is bad, but the player could be better. Alright, so now that we are done with that, we will do our short freelance run, and then we'll call it a video. In the next rotation, if I remember, I will try to talk about the thing I briefly mentioned about grillers, which is cleaning up the small fry. And just an overview about that. A lot of weapons that you can use in Salmon Run have a good affinity towards cleaning up or taking out small fry easier than others. And that's why I consider the cleanup or the janitor job whenever grillers comes up. So let's say a roller. Roller is pretty straightforward. You can just roll over the small fry. So once the griller is taken out, it's the roller's job to roll over all the small fry, so everyone else can collect eggs and not get their ankles punched. But okay, so we have... My game volume might be a little loud too, so I'll turn that down. We have Splaterscope. Up first, normal tide. 14 quota. That's pretty basic. Gonna throw a bomb first so I can get some tap shots. I'll be able to get the last one right now. Take out this Brella because the Drizzler can come closer, which it will. Nice. Got my friend up on the lift. We should have Coda now. So I'm gonna be a little extra and start trying to take things out early. A lot of things in Salmon Run have to do with timing and cycles. So having a focus on how much time you have for certain cycles of bosses doing things is pretty important. Say with like the steelheads, or more obviously the flyfish. That's something to keep in mind. I'm gonna turn my monitor volume down if I can. Alright, so we have High Tide Night, and I have Gloogas. I think I painted this wall. Not very well. Alright, we have a Griller. I'm gonna lure it away from my teammates, so they have a chance to hit it. Unfortunately, they did not hit it very well. I'll go into turret mode to get the most damage. We had hoped that our Undercover would help clean up those small fry just by opening up their Brella. Throw some bombs. Take care of the small fry. That Griller's one shot from being stunned. They're both on me, so I'm gonna have to be careful. Okay, double stun. We have quota because it's just 15. That's on me. I can't go here. I'm gonna go on the lift. Sorry, teammate. Yeah, Sam has the idea. We have quota, so we don't need to freak out too much about quota. I'll try to help out now, because people don't have to die, we can get more eggs. Alright, awesome. That went by pretty fast. I'm glad everything worked out. So yeah, turret mode will help stun those grillers much quicker, rather than just trying to shoot it straight up. As long as it's not chasing you, you can get a good angle on it. Alright, so undercover shenanigans. I'll be mostly keeping my spacing, so I won't run into trouble. I'll try not to be too adventurous. Jumping and shooting, there's nothing too special about it, it's just a habit I do. Eel's after me, I believe. Gonna take it out now. These eels are trouble. Hopefully you get the double, we do. I'll just get this so that jumps up. Eggs are closer. Don't think I can reach that stinger, so I'm just gonna keep throwing bombs at it. I almost missed that cycle because I missed the first shot of the eel. Yeah, so that bomb just bounced me way farther than I wanted to go, so something I have to keep in mind. Also that angle is not great. I'll take out this. Good. Since we have time, I'll do some bouncy things. You can really feel it, but I'm not really in control of where I'm bouncing around with these guys. But yeah, as long as you don't run with the wrong crowd with the undercover, you should be fine. Okay, great. That's gonna be it for this video. It was a pretty short one, just because we only have one weapon to cover. Next time we should have 3 weapons, I believe. Yeah, because I don't think I've done a brush before. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.